Let me just start by saying that I'm a lonely person. I like my solitude. It helps me explore myself and find my own mistakes in life along with what's done to me by others in the past so I can adjust and fix the issue. Unfortunately, I was raised by a family where I was the youngest of 4 and the one with the product of a second marriage. Although my dad was around, it was always the manipulation and mockery right along with any contact. Manipulation that always came from my own mother because of her ways of thinking, and embracing it through my siblings rather than putting a stop to it or calling anyone out to stop that type of behavior. As time went on, any little issue that arose, I was always the one to be blamed for it, even when I wasn't around. Fingers always pointed at me with accusations. Those behaviors coming from my own family that was supposed to be there to protect and comfort are what made me start defending myself. Once an adult, I tried to focus on work and my own family. I stayed away from social media for years because to me it was just psychological manipulation into trends and changed people's behavior. I finally proved myself about social media when in 2014 I became a Uber driver, and many couples I would pick up from the clubs would be arguing about how the guy always caught the girl flirting or straight up cheating, so they were going home early from the club. I kept seeing that scenario play over and over until it finally happened to me. I never caught the person. I was married to red-handed, however, she had been in social media for years without my knowledge, and because I didn't behave or dressed as everyone else. I wasn't cut out for that person, which she showed me with actions. Until finally I found out she was leading a double life. The one where she depended on me to survive, and the one where she did the cheating in her sorting hustle. Then once she joined the feminisms movement, I became the big bad wolf in her life, so divorce came right after. Like everyone that loses the life they invested so much money, time, and effort in. It hurts seeing it vanish overnight. It wasn't really about losing the person, but about losing my kids' growth and enjoyment. Once it was over, she never stopped feeding my kids with her poor victim mentality, and how she was the victim. My firstborn son wasn't even her kid, nor she ever treated him as she treated the second son I had with her. But even though she was out of the picture, she kept feeding my first son her lies through social media, always communicating to go against anything I would tell my son to do, to the point that even going to school and doing homework became the biggest issue. Then came the movement where for years I was targeted by feminists all over the country and damaged my new relationships. Once I would notice my new partners behaving that same way. A type of disagreement would happen, so I would just leave searching for something or someone that would be above the trends. To my surprise, it never happened, and the attacks became even more constant by people I would encounter on my day-to-day basis. Then after a few years of roaming around the US working Uber, and after the pandemic of 2020, I returned home in Denver, CO, moved in with my siblings, and the same story repeated: the mockery, and the blaming and accusing behind my back, but never confronted of anything. The worst part was that every time someone said something bad about me, my own family, without knowing anything about it, would reaffirm and join whoever said it, accusing me of whatever they heard without any proof. To the point I decided to venture once again by myself, finding that because of an entire community of feminists, my resources and job opportunities would just vanish out of thin air. When I finally decided to fight back without even knowing against who, the whole city turned their attention to me and simply came after me, because in their eyes, rather than defending myself, I was attacking everyone that came in contact with my social media. At that point my post went viral for all the wrong reasons, and even employers I hadn't worked for in years came after me, also accusing me of crimes I was never even around for. Then more people and their higher status connections came after me, and by hacking and manipulating all my devices, such as my vehicle, phone, and social media, their harassment began. So much psychological digital harassment was done that I almost took my own life while everyone celebrated my demise. I survived the gangstalking, and without my permission or consent I was taken to a rehabilitation center where they tried to say I was crazy and tried to blame me for crimes I knew nothing about. So I just kept being me, and to their surprise, I wasn't a criminal nor crazy, so they released me. I then got help from an old friend who allowed me to stay with him for a couple months while I got back on my feet. But the harassment never stopped. They were also influenced and lied to try and take my life by poisoning my food, and even doing witchcraft sent by other people manipulated as well. I couldn't even go to the store without someone nearby throwing indirect mocking comments. Then I was pretty much forced into an awakening of what the country really is and how everyone is manipulated into working ants without saying or self-decisions on even who to date. It seemed nothing less than craziness to me, but apparently everyone is involved on their own manipulation, and they're okay with it. I woke up to a sad, manipulative world where the unawakened suffer the most and are taken advantage of if they don't comply. Today, after all the gangstalking and my life completely destroyed, I have no choice But to live in my car and without anyone hiring me, my only choice was gig economy, where I can't even do Uber due to vehicle issues and no bank account, so I dropped all the way down to only deliveries that get manipulated as well, so I can only receive the cheapest paid deliveries. I can spend the whole day delivering food only to make enough for food and gas money. And when I tried to get lawyers to bring my gang stalking issues into the courts, I was confronted with more feminist behaviors, so I would just not even try. I've lost my work abilities, my families and kids. Without hope, which I'm sure makes a lot of people happy. Without those same people realizing that if they hadn't come after me the way they did for years, I would probably have a way better life, maybe not my old life, but better than where I was before, but a better life than the one I was forced to currently. Now society expects me to recover from the rock bottom I was forced into, and to not expect any type of help, which honestly I can't see anyone overcoming. I've seen so many homeless people in the same situations only to fall prey to drugs, and their demise where even their families don't care for any of them. It sucks living in this society, but with no options besides survival, I can only recommend 2 things to whomever hears this. 1. Either conform and become a slave to the system, or keep away from all the abuse and drugs so you can have a chance at a better life, otherwise rock bottom and demise would be your last stop.